Good evening. It was money raised in good faith to help the poorest children in Africa, but two women have stolen £7,500 in broad daylight from a woman's shopping bag in Hove. The crime was captured on CCTV and police are now appealing for help to find those responsible, as John Ryle now explains.
Caught on camera but not yet in person, the two suspects enter the store. Minutes later, at the exit, they move in on their victim, lifting envelopes of cash from her carrier bag, money collected for some of the poorest people on the planet. This was their target, the minister at a Southwick church and community centre, which had raised the money for education and farming projects in one of the most impoverished areas of Zimbabwe.
I got home, I put the kettle on, had a cup of tea, and then I just thought, right, I must sort out all this money because there were four of us travelling on the Thursday afterwards, so I thought I have to divide it up into, taking it. And when I went to my bag, the horror struck me that two of the wallets that the money had been exchanged into weren't in my bag. And then I recall someone in the store just brushing against me, and the awful truth hit.
Police believe the pair were working together and had probably seen the minister exchange the £7,500 for US dollars at the supermarket's currency kiosk.
A lot of it was for sponsorship of children whose parents have got no income, they've got no jobs. It's for medical assistance, it was for food aid. We also do a music project among young people to keep them off the streets sort of thing. And we actually also help a very needy special needs school of disabled children, and £1,600 of that money was to go to there and to buy wheelchairs and other equipment.
As news of the theft spread today, the church started to receive fresh donations from shocked parishioners. Linda Hulcoop hopes the thieves will think again when they learn who their victims were.
They have stolen from some of the poorest people in the world, and I would hope somewhere conscience kicks in and you just think, hang on, this is not the right way to go about life.
It happened at Sainsbury's on the old Shoreham Road in Hove around 4 p.m. on Monday, January the 23rd. Anyone who recognises either of the two young women from the CCTV released today should contact Sussex Police or Crime Stoppers. John Ryle, ITV News, Southwick.
In other news, 100 operations have been cancelled at two hospitals in Hampshire to help relieve pressure on A&E. Almost all orthopaedic surgery at the Royal Hampshire County Hospital in Winchester and the Basingstoke and North Hampshire Hospital have been stopped for 2 weeks. The Trust says it's due to unprecedented pressures and has apologised to all the patients affected. Police say they're still searching for the gun used to shoot a man in Waterlooville last week. The 34-year-old remains in hospital after the shooting in Crookhorn. A further two men have been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, but released without charge. 3 other people have been released on bail. Police in Bournemouth want to trace these people in relation to an incident involving a 17-year-old boy. He was trying to break up a fight on Old Christchurch Road in the early hours of last Wednesday when part of his ear was bitten off. Now, it's been claimed that patients' lives could have been put at risk after a paramedic at South East Coast Ambulance Trust deliberately tampered with vehicle tracker devices. It's the latest problem to hit the trust, which is currently in special measures. Here's Sam Holder from our newsroom.
Well, CCAM has told us that 4 paramedics have been referred to the Health and Care Professions Council. That's due to the potential misuse of mobile data terminals in ambulances. Now, switching off the device means the ambulance control room is unable to locate the ambulance, so can't dispatch it to medical emergencies, something which potentially puts patients' lives at risk. It's the latest in a long list of problems for the beleaguered trust, which covers Kent, Surrey, Sussex and North East Hampshire. It's currently in special measures after a damning report by inspectors about bullying and delayed response times. It followed revelations that the service had been operating a pilot scheme to deliberately delay responding to certain 111 calls in order to meet targets. The Trust says it takes the tampering of ambulance tracking systems extremely seriously. They've apologised and assure us that it is an isolated event.
Sam Holder reporting there. Fresh talks to try and end the dispute on Southern Rail have taken place at a secret location in London today. Leaders from the drivers' union ASLEF met company bosses after members rejected the latest proposal. Meanwhile, the Guards Union, the RMT, are due to walk out for 24 hours from midnight tonight. Southern says it will run around 3/4 of normal services, but trains from Brighton to London and along the south coast from Southampton and Portsmouth will be disrupted. East Dorset District Council is writing to the government urging it not to force through a merger of the county's 9 councils. 6 councils have backed the change, including Bournemouth and Poole. But East Dorset fears it would mean a loss of control over planning and could mean building on Greenbelt land. Now, a Surrey GP is tonight calling for more money to be ploughed into epilepsy care because patients are really suffering. There are around 50,000 people in the south living with the condition, but figures suggest there are only 14 NHS nurses across Hampshire, Dorset, Sussex and Surrey who specialise in caring for adults. Emma Wilkinson has more details.
Yeah, this is Michelle's helmet. She has to wear this when she's in the kitchen.
Without warning, Michelle Reynolds can suddenly fall to the floor and seriously hurt herself. She has a type of epilepsy which causes her muscles to involuntarily jerk.
That's where I actually hit my head.
Michelle needs daily help from her family and support workers.
I can't go out and walk my dog. I can't go shopping either. I can't go on a bus. I can't go on a train. I can't walk, really, because I might fall.
My day-to-day worry is that, it's every time my phone rings, I hope it's not Michelle in hospital again, because that is what you live with all the time.
Michelle's taken many different drugs to try and control her epilepsy, including phenytoin sodium, the drug at the centre of a landmark case. Last month, the Competition and Markets Authority, or CMA, fined drugs companies Pfizer and Flynn Pharma around £90 million for increasing the price of the drug. The CMA said the firms exploited a loophole involving branding and price regulation in order to unfairly push up the cost. Overnight, the NHS went from paying £2.83 for a pack to £67.50. For epilepsy patients, even small changes to medication can have serious consequences, so the NHS had no choice but to pay. Surrey GP Martin Brunette was among the first health professionals to flag up the price hike 4 years ago. An investigation was launched when a fellow GP in Sussex made a formal complaint. Dr Brunette has now started a petition calling for the money from the fine to go directly to the NHS rather than to the Treasury.
I think this would be a real chance to give something back to epilepsy. It's epilepsy patients that have suffered and been worried about this change, and epilepsy has been hugely underfunded. Epilepsy nurses in particular that have done a fantastic role have sort of disappeared. It is very much a neglected area, and this could be a chance to really boost it.
I think it's appalling, really. Those other people out there worse off than me.
Michelle has us, but the other people that don't have support from their families, completely alone.
Of course, any decision on how the fine is used depends on it being paid. Both pharmaceutical companies have strongly disputed the CMA's findings and are currently appealing. Emma Wilkinson, ITV News.
Finally tonight, traffic came to a standstill on the M27 during this morning's rush hour when a swan landed on the carriageway. This picture from motorway cameras shows the swan near junction 11 at Fareham. It was safely rescued by highway staff. Now, what does the weather have in store over the next few days? With all the details, here's Simon.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. Well, the key word to describe the weather over the next few days is unsettled. Yes, there'll be some rain at times, plus we got some strong winds to deal with. In fact, Thursday is looking like quite a stormy day. Storm Doris is who we'll see arriving from the west, basically an area of low pressure that's going to bring snow to northern parts of the country and some very strong winds too. Now, the main wind warning area is to the north of our region. It's parts of Buckinghamshire, Oxfordshire and Berkshire where we could see gusts of between 50 and 60 miles an hour. now, although it's quite likely we'll see those kind of gusts along the south coast too. Further north than that, into the Midlands and parts of Wales, they'll get even stronger winds here that could be disruptive. So the Met Office keeping a close eye on things. Certainly it's a blowy night tonight with a lot of cloud on top of us. Hence it's a fairly mild night, temperatures up into double figures. Some bits and bobs of patchy rain here and there, and that'll make for a bit of a cloudy, damp and windy start to tomorrow. But there'll be a fair bit of dry weather as we head through tomorrow. It's to the north we see another weather front start to sink southwards, bringing more rain with it later on. But those winds still quite blowy, gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour along the coast, maybe 30 to 35 inland.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
So Doris is back, and that is all from us for tonight. We are back during Good Morning Britain bright and early from 6